Ball across to Dylan. Now he double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Ooh, into the net.
She does it again.
Yes, and Magdeburg are the champions of Europe. To come up with something here. She has a game. This is across the keeper. What a comeback!
And off into a new era, not of handball, but a new era of handball podcast. This been We Talk Handball starts off with the first episode, and I am joined by great guests, by great co-hosts. I gotta say it like that. I gotta check. Yeah, for you, it's the right-hand side. It's the Spanish and Barcelona legend, Víctor Tomàs, and to my left-hand side, beach handball's greatest that Denmark has ever seen, Martin Vilstrup. Nice to see you guys.
Hello, Bengt. Hello, Martin. It's really nice to be here. I'm super excited for this weekly podcast that the three of us are gonna make during the Champions League. I'm so happy to be here, and I really hope that the handball community is joining us every week to listen to the podcast, and this is growing and growing day by day.
As Victor said, it's super excited. It's maybe something that the handball community is missing out on, and hopefully we can deliver whatever is missing out there. And excited also to be a part of this little group with you two guys. And I expect it to be really, really good. And we off for a good start with some nice topics and also an interesting guest joining us later on. So I'm super ready.
Yeah, well, I mean, Maybe we did a huge mistake because the first guest that we are getting into the show, we won't get any better than that. Let's be honest, because he is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, to ever enter the handball stage. One of us shared the pitch with him, and well, it says it in the title, so we can drop the name. Nikola Karabatic is about to join us in roughly 10 minutes. Victor, what's your favorite memory together with Nikola Karabatic?
My favorite memories with him is when we shared the pitch in the same team. You know, when we played against each other, I don't have so many good memories. But I always explain to people when they ask me about him, handball people, of course, that he is the superstar that you want to have in your team, because he is an example for everything. You know, in running sessions, he's working his ass off a lot in running sessions. He's the first one to be leading the group in the gym. He's the last one to leave the weights room. He's always paying attention when the video is coming and tactical things you have to learn. So I think he's the top player, and he is, in my opinion, without a doubt, and in my opinion, it's not debatable, he is the greatest of all time in handball.
Martin, agree?
Shortly, yes, I agree. And I was never so lucky to actually play with him, but I've watched him many times as a player, and also, seeing what he has achieved on the court is so unbelievable. But also just having in mind that I often heard people about saying, yeah, he's always going to the right. Why don't you cover him up in defense? And maybe it has something to do that he was so strong, and it's not that simple that you can just cover up whenever you know. And basically, to me, he was just a beast, and he was not only offensively, it was also defensively.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good point.
Before we talk too much about Nikola Karabatic, we do have some time to share with him. Let's just give an introduction of what we are doing here this season. Well, basically just starting right now. We did choose this particular week because EHF Champions League Machine Seeker, EHF Champions League Men started, and it started very intensely. So the groups are being drawn, and we will see the rematch of the semifinal. We will see rematches of finals. And we did see some intense matches already, and the three of us, we are going to talk about it on a weekly basis. We are, probably going to meet Fridays. We hope that we will, but on the other hand, we need to adapt our time schedule because, Victor, you are quite busy apart from this handball podcast, aren't you?
Yes, I'm still busy after my handball career. but everything is in contact or close to handball because I work with Catalan TV, being the analyst for FC Barcelona games in Champions League. I'm doing this cooperation with you guys, which I am super excited. And I'm already, I opened an agency. I work as a player's agent. So I'm quite busy. Yes, I'm quite busy. And I like to be involved with handball because it's what I love and what I like.
What are the top players that you're an agent for?
Yesterday you had one player in the watch along game. It was Nacho Biosca.
Yes.
Nacho Biosca was in Vesprem goal. He played a good game after starting in the bench. I'm also representing Diogo Rema in Porto side in the goal, and Mamadou Diokou, who is also in Porto in Champions League. But then I'm also representing Mohamed El Tayar in Balingen, Mohab Said in Nimes. So I'm quite happy, and I'm also in women handball. I'm representing Paula Arcos, which is playing in Vipers Kristiansand.
That's nice. Maybe we will see Vipers Christiansen in one of the predictions that we are about to give in this podcast for this season. Martin, who's your favorite player from the ones that Victor just listed up?
No, well, we watched it yesterday. It has to be Ignacio coming in goal. We spoke about it in watch along also that Corrales was starting in goal, but I actually think that he came in and had some couple of saves, and that also was decisive when it came to deciding the result in the end. In general, I think Portner had some saves in the end, but it has to be the goalkeeper joining from Wisla Ploc, if I understood it correctly.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and we will talk about that game later on a little bit more, but to keep it short, are you happy with your client's performance yesterday?
Yes, I'm super happy with Nacho and Diogo Rema, goalkeeper in Porto. He's really young. He's under 21. Of course, I expected to see Diogo playing, but he didn't play. But yes, I'm super happy with my players, and I'm really proud of them.
How nervous are you as a player's agent when, he obviously just switched his teams this summer, and then his first performance in the Champions League as an agent? How do you look at it?
Of course, you are always expecting for them to give their best because you have been there as a player. So I think that my advantage as an agent now is that I have been a player myself, and I can understand what it's going through their minds a little better than someone who hasn't been a player. I'm nervous, but I'm nervous not because their contracts or something. I'm nervous because I have a close contact with them, or I try to have a close contact with them. I know them as a persons, and I know how much they work to perform well. So I just want that all the work they put in during the week, it's giving the result in the game.
What do you expect from Vesprem?
As you guys know, I think Vesprem is the favorite number one this season. I think they are so strong this season. They have a very let's say wide roster, and I think they are the favorite number one this season.
And I know one team that will have an idea to stop them, and one of the key players to maybe be able to stop Vesprem from winning the Champions League, to win it for the first time for Paris Saint-Germain, might be Nikola Karabatic. And it is my honor and my pleasure to welcome him to the podcast. Handball's greatest himself, saying hello from his living room. Nikola Karabatic, a warm welcome to you.
Hello, guys.
How are you? How's it
Can you
going?
hear me well?
Yes.
Well, I'm a little bit tired because we traveled all night to come back from Hungary. We had to wake up at 4 o'clock, so it was an early wake up call. So, but I'm happy I'm back home. It's nice weather in Paris. We had the win yesterday, so everything's fine.
Yeah, and now seeing our 3-split call here, you do recognize at least one person, the one that is sitting on my left-hand side. For you, it's the right side. Víctor Tomàs, when you see that face, what's the first memory that comes back up to you?
Oh my God.
You
Oh my
asking
God.
me or you asking Victor?
I'm asking you, Nikola.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, there can be a lot of memories with this guy. Of course, a lot of memories of him, my captain, see him lifting the trophies and the nicest trophies all we won during my 2 years in Barca. So this has the nicest memories, but I have also a lot of memories during the parties, really fun ones. And then I have also nice memories with our families, with the kids, with our wives, having fun together and having good time together. So a lot of different kind of memories with this mister.
And maybe very soon you might be able to create some more memories, because there might be a little more time in your free time, because this is Nikola Karabatic's last dance. How does it feel to be after the season preparation and to be starting the season for one last time?
Well, it feels great because well, I know that every training, every game can be my last one because we have such a hard sport and we never know what can happen in sport. So it's a really great feeling to enter the last season knowing that it will be the last, and after that you will be away from pro handball. So yeah, it's great because you really live it to the fullest. Everything, the trips, the trainings, and being with the guys in the locker room. So it feels really great. And I know, for example, I know that Victor, he had unfortunately, and I felt so bad for him at that time that he had to stop his career during the COVID, and so it wasn't a controlled way to stop a career. So for me, it's really nice to be able to experience that.
Yeah, I was about to give you a tip. I know you're doing it, but in my case, when I announced my retirement, 1 month later, the pandemic came, and I had to retire at home over a Zoom video with the team. So I know you're doing it. I know you're doing it, but enjoy every second to the maximum, because these feelings that we had in the playing court, in the trainings, in the trips, these feelings are not coming back.
Yeah, thanks.
And it's not just one last dance for you in general in handball. It is one last dance in the Machine Seeker EHF Champions League as well. When we talk about the next summer, your last title will be 9 years ago. Paris has never won it. What are the ambitions for this season?
Well, like always, when you play in big clubs like Paris Saint-Germain, you always strive for the best. So um, you of course want to win all the titles, the French league and the French Cup, and you want to be and put the best performance in the Champions League. But I think it's not the same Paris anymore like when I arrived in Paris 9 years ago. We still have a very, very good team and a lot of chances, I hope, to reach the Final Four. But we are not anymore amongst the top favorites team. When you see all the teams like Veszprém, Barca, Magdeburg, Kielce, which are loaded with talent and bringing up really big players in the rosters. This is maybe not anymore the tactic for the PSG. So they're controlling a little bit more that what they're doing. So I think we will be one of the favorite teams to enter the Final Four, of course, like always, but maybe not anymore the top favorite for the win. But that's okay with us, and we fight till the end. I think we have a good team, and we play good, and we can compensate that with our tactic and with our handball level.
Do you think, Nico, that what you just said, it's something that it's giving the team in general less pressure to feel that you must win the title, because the policy, the signings, the people who's coming, the players, it's not the same as you said, because before PSG was trying to sign all the biggest players in the world, but now that the policy has changed, do you think it's helping the team to have less pressure?
Well, the team, of course, has less pressure because we know we are not the top favorite for the Champions League. But in the same time, we are the PSG, and a lot of people around us just see the name and stay on the impression PSG gave some years ago, where we always try to attract the top stars on every position. So we know the pressure will be always coming from the outside, but from the inside we know also our value, and even if we don't bring the best players and the best names on each position, we know that we are capable of reaching the final four like last year. And last year, I think we would have easily deserved to play in the final against Magdeburg, and it came really close against Kielce in the semi-final. So we showed that despite all that, we have a lot of value, and that the players who come to Paris get better and reach a high potential. So we are really proud of that. So maybe we have less pressure from ourselves, but you know how it is. We players always put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and even
I
if we're
know.
not amongst the favorites, we want to be, and we will fight till the end.
How tough were the first days after the final four losses that you guys suffered?
Well, luckily, the Final Four now is the last event of the year, of the season with the clubs. So after the Final Four, we had to go. We went back home. The day after, we got all together during a nice evening to get together to say goodbye to the guys who changed club or stopped their career. So and after that, we went all to on vacation. So it wasn't like you were staying and in Paris training. After that, you had the chance to go to vacation, and so it's it's easy then to change your mind and to rest a little bit when you see the sun and the beach and the sea.
Yeah, most definitely. But still, it's for the whole city a big dream to finally be able to lift that trophy. Not just in handball. When we talk about the football team as well, they weren't able to lift the Champions League trophy either. How important is that Champions League trophy for the city of Paris?
Well, the Champions League trophy is really important for PSG in all sports, handball, football, men and women. And this was a big goal when the new direction arrived 10, 12 years ago. So it's still the case. But I think they realized that it's not that easy to win the Champions League in any sports. And but it's cool. That makes the sport great. And I think in football, in handball, the sport got better with PSG coming, because it raised the level. It raised the level in Europe, but also in France a lot. And I think it was a great case. And I hope the direction will still fight and still put that many ambition in football. I see in football they're doing it, and I hope that they will keep on doing this with handball.
Yeah, most definitely. And enough of Paris talk. Let's talk a little bit more about the person Nikola Karabatic. You had 22 years, well, it will be 23 years of professional handball. If there was one moment that you had to pick out of your whole career that was super special, that stands above it all, what would it be?
Well, that's a tough one because, like I said, I'm lucky because I lived so many great moments in my career, so many emotions. Like I said before, with Victor in the Champions League in Barcelona, when we lifted that trophy, it was a very special moment for me. I had so many. The last one really huge moment was in the 2021 Olympics in Tokyo, where we won the gold medal with the French national team, and I was able to come back after my ACL, my torn ACL, 7 months after the surgery, and then play the Olympics, be there with my team, all my teammates. A lot of them didn't won the gold medal. We won back in 2012. A lot of the guys lost in the final in 2016 against Denmark, so it was a big thing to win again, and for me to win with those younger guys and with my brother also, that was very, very special.
I think that's a tricky question for a guy that has won 3 times the Olympic Games. I don't know how many times the World Championship, European Championship. That's it was a political answer, you know.
I was about to say the same. When you won the European Championship, the World Cup, the Olympics, the Champions League, you played in Kiel, Barcelona, and PSG. What to choose from is it's a hard one. But Nikola, I actually have a question for you, because I heard once you played a Champions League final for THW Kiel with a broken toe, and you had to play in a shoe that was 2 sizes bigger than the normal one. Is that true or false?
It was not the final of the Champions League. It was a group game. I was silly because I got angry during a game, and I hit a bottle which was standing next to the bench in Kiel, and my foot ended in an iron stand, and I fucked up my little finger, my little toe, and I had to play like this. I had to play like this during a lot of games, and it wasn't funny. So it wasn't in the final, but it
is now.
Yeah.
Some people would say karma.
Yeah, bad karma. Yeah. That's it.
But also maybe thinking about, I know it's maybe a little bit early to speak about it, but have you thought about the life after handball? Because I know earlier also your brother Luca, he played a lot of tennis. And is there anything that you're thinking about? Hey, I'm going to stay active. I'm going to, play at, or are you going to stay in the handball world? Is there any dreams about that?
Well, actually, I don't think that the next two years I will stay in the professional handball world, because I want to rest a little bit from this professional handball and from the competition, because I was in competition from my early age, and I want a little rest about this. But I think I will try to improve my paddle skills. So because my brother is really better, and I want to beat Victor also, and I want to be ready when my brother stops playing handball. So I will catch up the level. I'm not bad, but so that's my challenge for my second life.
But will
This
there
is
be
music
a way
for my ears?
Music for your ears. But will there be a way back into professional handball, or is it something that you can't predict yet?
Well, I think we never know what can happen. I guess at some point in my life, handball will be tickling, and maybe I will then come back to and experience the coaching part of handball, and I think it will be, maybe I will be up to it someday, but not in the next, not so close, because I really want to have a rest, because the professional life is really consuming, and I think the coaching position, when I see a lot of coaches and when I see the life, it's a really hard job. You have to be passionate about this. So I think I want to fill up the energy before I maybe get into this. But I never know. But I also develop with my brother our training campus, and I want to develop that. But it will be more on the side of the transmission and work with the kids and this kind of thing. This is not the competition. It's a different area of the the sport, transmit and the values, and try to help children seek their dream. So
Somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
yeah, sorry,
No worries,
sorry
you're all
about that.
good. You're all good
If
there.
I
Probably
was,
a
ab-
package coming.
I was about to say that if you need an agent for your coaching career, I'm here.
Okay,
Always
we will
using that
talk.
connection. But talking about kids might be a good topic right there because many kids these days will look into the handball world and they will see the greatest of them all, Nikola Karabatic. They will look up to you. You are a huge role model for them. But for yourself growing up, you probably had some role models as well. Who do you look up to?
Well, I was lucky because I had my father, when I was a kid. At home, he was my coach. He was my sport teacher at school also, and of course my role model. And it was a huge help, and he made a difference because he helped me so much during all my career. So I had my role model at home. But when I watched the games when I was a young kid, the player I dreamt about playing with, and I was copying his moves was Stefan Löfgren, the star of the Swedish national team. I really loved the Swedish national team because they were, of course, winning a lot of titles, playing always against Russia in the final, and I loved the way they played. And Stefan was my idol when I was a little kid, and I had the chance of playing with him in Kiel, so that was something huge for me, and I learned a lot with him.
You're giving all the assists for the smooth transitions. We did talk about the French national team. Now you talked about the Swedish national team. All together being mixed up. We look 5 months ahead, and there will be another Euro. Will you be playing?
I hope I will be playing. Yeah.
Ask
I will
ask
be
the coach.
available for
Ask
my
the coach.
Well, that's fair. But you will try to steal the show down on the handball court. What are the chances for France? Where do you see yourselves in the Euros?
Well, I think we have our chances. We have a great team, loaded with talent. I just hope that Vincent Gérard will be fit and in action because he's a huge part of our team. But I think we will be one of the favorites of the Euro Championship, even if we know that we were never that good on the Olympic years with the national team, and I don't know if it's a curse or if we are maybe focused on the other competition. But I hope we will play good and enjoy this Euro Championship in Germany, because Germany is a home of handball, and competitions like this in Germany, it's always really fun because you play in full packed arenas, great arenas, a lot of fans. So it will be exciting to play this tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, especially that world record of roughly 50,000 people, that would not have been possible when you first started playing handball 22 years ago, professional handball 22 years ago. From your perspective, how did handball develop?
Well, this is a good question. How did we develop? I think that handball got more global. This is really nice because we see now that handball is played in more countries. That also the level of handball play in those countries is getting really good. So this is really important for our sport. Then in the meantime, I think we have changed a lot of things with the Champions League, the format, the different groups. We tried a lot of different things. I don't know if we can say it's working. I think it's working for the clubs, for the clubs to develop their fan base and everything. I don't know. I don't have the data to see and to say that the Champions League product is easier to sell now for the TVs and for the TV rights. I don't know the numbers of the TV rights. I just know in France. And in France right now to watch the Handball Champions League, I don't know if we have a lot of viewers, and I cannot say, and I don't think that the product on the French TV got better with the years with the Champions League. I don't think that we have more viewers than in the past with all those different changes. So, but in the meantime, I don't have all the data, and it's difficult to judge for me. So
I
I
think
will
that
ask you the question.
I think that with social networks, the product has grown a lot because for people it's easier to consume that product, and what we are doing right now, it's easier to consume for people, to just sit down, push play, and look at us talking with Nikola about handball. So I think that the product has grown because of social network. We are able to reach more people, and I think that the fan base around Europe, especially, is growing year by year, and that's something really good for handball. And in my opinion, the decision to make the semifinals and the final in the final four format in Cologne, it has been something that it changed handball back in the days, and now it's an event that every handball fan is waiting for.
Yes, of course, for the handball fans to have the a Final Four like this in the end of the year, to go to Cologne, it has become a tradition, and of course it's nice for the product. And like you said, also of course the social media is really important. The fans can see all the best action, everything, and they try to make the handball product more attractive through that. But yeah, I think we would need more than half an hour to discuss about
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
attractiveness of our sport and the strategy behind the development.
yeah, yeah,
But
probably.
yeah.
But still, Cologne as the big goal for this season. Have you ever been able to visit Cologne or to see something from the city, or were you always just there for the handball?
No, I was always there just for the handball. So I know the Köln Arena, and I really know very well the hotel we stay at. But for the rest, I don't know. I
when
don't
you
know. We
when
went
you
sometimes to one restaurant, but that's it.
when you experience that event, not as a player but as a when you live outside the team's bubble, it's also amazing. It's also amazing.
Well, 2025.
You will see.
I hope I will
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, most definitely, and we will show you around for some Kölsch then, because it's a good beer. You can always go for one in the Kölner Altstadt in the old town of Cologne. Well, guys, I think if you guys don't have any questions left for Nikola.
No, I don't have any questions left. I think, well, I have a lot of questions, but I think it's time for him to rest because he has practice this afternoon. I just want to say that, Nico, how much I appreciate you, but for me it was a huge honor to be able to play with you in your amazing career, both as a teammates, but also against you. And I'm really proud to have played handball in Nikola Karabatic era. So thanks for everything you have done for handball.
Thank you, Victor. It's too much of an honor. I don't know what you say. It makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable to receive such nice words from my big captain.
I'm gonna cry.
All right, then before.
And best of luck with the Paris Saint-Germain this season, and enjoy it, and because we will enjoy the last round of Nicolas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll give my best to make it nice watching us play.
Most definitely. Thank you for that. Thank
you,
you
guys.
for your time. Thank you for letting us steal your time. And we wish you the best of luck at first for your training and other than that for the rest of the season. Hope to see you in Cologne.
Thank you, guys. Hope that also. Bye.
Cool. See you around.
Bye.
Yeah.
I'm not shaking. You're shaking. Oh, what a nice guy! What a nice guy. He's won everything, each and everything that that you can never dream of in handball world, and still such a humble and nice guy.
He's a normal person.
Yeah.
And I think that's basically it, and that's the best way to define him. He's a normal guy.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I feel as well. But eventually, I found it very interesting what he said about Paris. That of course the Champions League trophy is very important for the city, but they're not the favorites anymore. Do you guys agree?
I personally agree that they're maybe not the favorites, but it's maybe what he was referring to is that you saw them names as Mikkel Hansen going to Paris Saint-Germain this season. They had Jakob Holm, and it's not to be unfair towards Jakob Holm. He's a good player, but the level of transfers they did earlier was really at a high level. And now you maybe see some of the other clubs, for example, Vístrup, doing those kind of transfers. So it's we're not ruling out PSG because I have predicted I'm gonna predict that they're gonna be at the Final Four. But maybe, as Victor said, it's gonna suit them a little bit more being not the underdogs, but not the top favorites, and maybe it's more comfortable for them.
Victor, do you
I
see
have to
them?
be honest. I have to be honest that last season I was seeing them as the clear underdogs in Final Four, but my bet was on them. I really thought they would win last season. I know I had this this feeling with them after beating Kiel in the quarterfinals, and I agree with Martin and I agree with Nico that they are not the favorites at this moment because. As we said, the names of the transfers and the names that they have in the team now are not as big as they used to be. But I think that we have to look at them very close because it's a lot of things going around this competition in this particular season that it's making them more dangerous to play against.
But then I would say it's time for some predictions. So I want to know from you guys who's going to make it to the Final Four, who's going to make it to Cologne.
Martin, after you.
Okay. But first of all, I would say I would be a little bit shaky if I should play against Paris Saint-Germain, and I would know that it's going to be Nicolas' last season, because not only would Nicolas give 1,000%, but I also think him as a person, Victor described it earlier, his teammates are going to be willing to give even if not as the same amount of percentage as Nicolas is, they are going to be willing to give as much as him for Nicolas because it's going to be his last season. So they're going to be a really, really difficult opponent to play against, although they won with 2 goals in second. But my prediction would be Barcelona, PSG, Telekom Vístrup, and Magdeburg. And by that set, it can end up with having some matchup, it could be Vístrup against one of these teams in the quarterfinals, and but that's gonna be my 4. And obviously, I thought about Kiel, Aalborg, and Kielce, but to me, I cannot miss out Vístrup and Magdeburg, last year champions, Final Four without PSG and Barcelona. It doesn't make sense to me. So that would be my 4 teams to be there.
So you're basically just switching out Telekom Vístrup against Kielce from last year.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, fair. Victor, what's your prediction?
That's a tough one. Every year, it's so many teams. Yeah, it's so many teams that they can reach the Final Four.
Yeah.
I still need 4 names here. I'm not gonna let you off with that one.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Vístrup. I'm gonna go with Barcelona. I'm gonna go with Kielce, and I'm gonna go with PSG.
So you're switching out Magdeburg. You guys are going for the almost back-to-back Final Four that we saw this year, but for Martin without Kielce, for you without Magdeburg, but Veszprém is gonna make it. That's what I'm reading out of your predictions. I am gonna disagree with you guys in some points. I do see that Magdeburg will fail to make it. I do see that Barcelona is gonna fail to make it. I am not sure yet whether PSG will actually be able to reach the Final Four because of that underdog role, and I do see them failing in the quarterfinals as well. If I needed to give you four names,
I want to hear the names then.
I'm gonna go with THW Kiel. THW Kiel is gonna come back, and Kielce, well, I predicted them as the winner. Kielce is gonna do it. PSG is going to make it, and Telekom Veszprém. So these are my four: Kiel, Kielce, PSG, and Veszprém.
No, sorry. I think that the three predictions that we made, they are possible and probable.
Yeah.
So because every year this competition, it's so many teams, with the capacity to lift the trophy at the end of the year. So either if some teams are not in for those of that we said, or some of the teams are going in, I will not be surprised.
But the hard thing about prediction is also that some teams can face some injuries that can be crucial for them later on in the season that will maybe decisive that they not going to make it. But interesting, Bengt here with Kiel going to the Final Four because, leaving out Barcelona is also a little bit risky, but let's see by the end of the season who's right and who's wrong.
And I'm going for a smooth transition number 53 in this podcast. Injuries, Barcelona. Well, we are talking with a true expert because who would we ask if not Víctor Tomàs about what Barcelona is planning? Because at the beginning of the season we saw Lukas Sindrich leaving the club. Then in one of the last preparation games it was Domin Makuc who suffered a major injury, and the center back position now is being filled up with Jaime Gallego coming from Torre la Vega, and with Javier Rodriguez from Logroño, two very young players.
They are two very young players. I think they are both the future players for the line player position in Spanish handball. But of course, they have a very, very hard job to do, which is try to deliver good performances. Not like Ludovic Fabregas was doing, because in my opinion, that's not reachable for them at this moment. But they have a very, very tough job to do, because line player, it's a very important, it's a key role, it's a key position in handball. So I think, and we will have to see how FC Barcelona is growing in this position during the competition. The other day, Luis Frade and Javier Rodriguez, they were doing a great job against Montpellier, and Barcelona played a very, very good game. But of course, I think that they will have more problems in the center back position, where Domin Makuc was injured. Lukas Sindrich is not in the team yet. And it seems that Paul Valera, which is the only pure center back at this moment, it's not a player that it's in the plans of Ortega at this moment. He's using him, but not a lot. He used him more. Petar Chikuza, this young player from youth teams of Barcelona, which was also amazing. We will have to see during the games how Barca is growing as a team with all these changes.
Martin, who do you see stepping in?
Well, it's find it interesting that you here in the end, Victor, mentioned Petar Zikusa, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, because I just Margaret, she was Rookie of the Year last year. It's too early to say, but the way Peter he performed in the first match, I think he had 4 goals, some assists. And as I saw it, he was really good 1 versus 1. And that could also be a player that the handball world probably haven't seen that much before of, and could surprise us a little bit. But I'm also curious about that maybe Barcelona is going to play with Dicamem as the playmaker position, with Melvin Richardson on the right back position, and I also know that sometimes they use Blachans on the right back position, but it's going to be interesting to see. It's a huge loss for them. But Victor know it more detailedly how they actually playing.
Yeah, we have to remember that Petar Chikusa is 18 years old. So I don't think he will be the player who will care over his shoulders the weight of the team in the playmaker position. And I don't think that Barca has to make him to carry this weight. And we will see how Paul Valera is going in the team, because if he's not ending up being the number one in the center back, Barca will have to adapt their game to play with a left-handed player in the center back, which will be either Melvin Richardson or Blas Jans. And that's very difficult. That's very difficult to do that as a playing mode, not as some solution for some game, because sometimes Blas Jans, it's very useful, or Melvin Richardson are very useful, depending which defenses are they facing, for 5-10 minutes during the game. But to adapt your game to play with a left-handed player in the center back, that's difficult.
Yeah, most definitely.
I agree, but otherwise maybe we will see that, I don't know if Karsgaard, he will be playing some playmaker as well, while we have Angusan on the left back. But it's interesting because, as you said, it's definitely some, how would you say, the rhythm or the flow could be different when you're playing with a left-handed compared to what most of the teams are playing with a right-handed playmaker.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just, Martin, we are not starting that whole "if I pronounce that name correctly" thing, because I first noticed that when I said Javier Rodriguez, and you, Victor, answered with Javier Rodriguez. So we are just not going to go in that direction. It's totally fine.
Okay.
But yeah, the whole weight of the team carrying it, GOG coach Ian Marco Fock, he tried to do it, but the club wasn't agreeing on the way and the direction where he was leading the club. Martin, you are a Danish guy. You are the one with the insights.
Yeah, well, also used to play in GOG, so it's a little bit funny that my youth coach and actually former coach is taking over now instead of Ian, like alongside with the assistant coach. There were some doubts before they had, employed Ian, whether he was the right guy or not, because obviously Flensburg, they bought Nikola Karabatic out of the contract, and they needed to find a solution for that. And they started off by winning the Super Cup against Aalborg, and then they won this week against Celje. But I would say in the league, they have performed what I would expect a little bit more from them. Won one, they drawed one and lost one, but in general, I don't think it has too much to do with the results, although they maybe was hoping for more. But they spoke about it has something to do with the direction that the club is going, and also the daily structure, changing it around. I was trying to speak with some of the guys from GOG, but they kind of also came as a little bit, I wouldn't say a surprise with them, but they didn't know it until they actually the press release. So it's a surprise, and it's going to be interesting to see what the assistant coach can do, because he also new to the club, but they're bringing in a guy to back him up who's been in the club for more than, I would say, 30 years. He has the DNA of the club, and maybe that's going to help him. I'm a little bit curious about, because the assistant coach taking over haven't had a team that's playing in the men's side on the Champions League. So, and they also said in the press release that they're gonna give them time to find a proper coach from the summer 2024, which means that they're gonna have these two guys for the rest of the season. And I'm excited, and obviously I hope the best for GOG because it's my former club. But it's a little bit of a shock, I would say.
just to drop that name. Yeah, Victor.
Yeah, I don't have the insights as Martin can have, but from the outside, it seems that okay, not only this maybe but one bad result in the Danish league, it's enough to just fire a coach that you just signed in 1.5 or 2 months ago. I think it must
Yeah.
be something else that only the club and the and Marco Fogg know.
Yeah.
It's done. Just move on for the club, move on for Marco Fock, and we are expecting to see George to be that exciting team that it's making exciting handball that everybody likes to see, with some young players rising up and shining like we have seen in the last 3 seasons. And either if it's one coach or with the other one, I'm really hoping that Georgi is giving us some nice shows like they did.
Yeah, well, and I mean, which team is supposed to do it if not Georgi Handball? But I need to check on my cheat sheet just to not get anything messed up, because throughout the last 3 years, they always had radical changes throughout the summer. So in 2020, they had Odin Rickardsson and Lasse Møller leaving the club. 2021, they had Emil Jakobsen, Emil Leke, and Fredrik Bo Andersen leaving the club. 2022, Matthias Gitzo leaving towards Füchse Berlin. 2023, now amongst other players, Simon Pütlik and Lukas Jürgensen and coach Nikola Karabatic left the club. And then just 2 months into his new job, well, just like we said it, the new coach Ian Marco Fogg, he needed to pack his bags once again. But still, I do feel like GOG is the team to be able to cope with losses with players or staff leaving.
They've done it before, as you said. They also, Jerry Tolbring on the left wing, he's playing in Füchse Berlin also now. But I actually think they brought in some good players with Alexander Blons, Aaron Mensing. And as Victor said, it's also a club that gives some of the academy, the youth players a chance. What I find unbelievable is that some season ago they had Niklas Kirkeløkke on the right back. Then they produced Matthias Gissel. Now they produce Emil Madsen, who was the top scorer of the Machine Series EHF Champions League last season. And they have another guy called Jerzy Løkke. He's not that big. I actually think he did a great game in the second half against Barcelona last year in the quarterfinal, if I remember correctly. So, and they also have a right wing, Oscar Wind, who's had his national debut. And in general, I think Georgi will be totally fine. It's just, people haven't expected this kind of news when Victor said you employ a coach. Then 1.5 months, 2 months later, he's fired. And it's a big news because it's not something you see that often in handball. But GOG is also a team that I expect to go to the quarterfinals. So obviously, in the end, they will be there. They have a strong team with Morten Olsen as the playmaker, the clever guy, the experienced guy. So they will be fine. It's just a big news and something you don't see that often in handball.
To which of your 4 teams will they lose in the quarterfinal?
No, that's a good question. It comes down to who's they going to be mixed up with. But you can choose from Barcelona, PSG, Magdeburg. No. Oh, they're in the same group as some teams. But they are really strong, but they're not as strong as they can make it to the Final Four. If I have to choose a team from Denmark, it would be Aalborg, as I said, as an outsider. They also won against Kielce, but they have the X factor with Mikkel Hansen and also Niklas Landin. To me, that's the huge difference from Aalborg last season to this season. They have a goalkeeper that's going to be capable of delivering in the big games, and everyone knows Niklas Landin. He can step up, and they're going to need that.
Yeah, absolutely. Niklas Landin leaving THW Kiel, but that's maybe a topic for next week because there is still a lot to talk about. And one thing that Victor wants to say.
Yeah, in Aalborg, I think it's one signing that we are not speaking a lot about it. Yeah. It's Bla. I think he had an amazing season last season in Celje. And after Klar went to sign for Magdeburg for this season, I think that was a very, very good signing from Aalborg.
Well, last year 88 goals in the Champions League, and now in his
Right.
first game, Aalborg did play against Kielce. They took home the victory 31-29. He was able to score 5 goals as well. But on the other side, there was the guy that is my prediction to finally take home the top scorer of the Champions League, and I want to transition it over to our predictions, because we did choose some categories to look out for, and one of them will be the top scorer of the Champions League. Victor seems to be in his thoughts, so I'm gonna ask Martin, who will it be?
I'm gonna do something again here. I'm gonna give a quick comment also to Vlaar. He was the top scorer, I think, before Celje got knocked out of the Champions League last season, and it's also the first non-Scandinavian player for a long time that Aalborg is bringing in. So it's a really interesting signing. But I wrote down, although I predict that they're not going to the Final Four, you saw it last year, Morito from the left wing from Kielce. I think he's just in general machine when it comes to scoring goals. He's taking penalties, and he's running fast on the right wing. He's maybe running a little bit earlier to get the fast break goals, but he's a key player for Kielce, and he will get I expect him to score a lot of goals this season.
I do have.
Yeah, that was. Sorry, Bengt. That was a name that I was in the tip of my tongue, Morito. So as long as you said that name, I'm going to say another name that maybe it surprised you guys, but it's Kamil Sipchak.
Mm-hmm. He did start the season off properly as well. I think. How many goals was it that he scored?
6 or something like that.
But still one of the line players who's actually able to show danger towards the goal. And my pick,
shooting penalties.
Yeah, that as well. My pick will be Simon Sicko, with 11 goals in his first game for Kielce. That's why I am not too sad that they lost it against Aalborg, because Kielce will be my pick for the winner of the Champions League this year. But I do think that Simon Sicko will be a huge factor for Kielce once again. And once that Andy Wolf is coming back, that Kielce squad is going to go back to full strength.
Did you buy some Kielce shares?
No.
Are you going full with Kielce?
Yeah, I'm going full with Kielce, but I don't care. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Okay, MVP, guys. You guys know from which team my MVP will come.
I also thought about it. I in some way I would like to say Nikola, because that will be a Cinderella story, and it will be well deserved that he's gonna be the MVP. So that's what I hope for. And it will be well deserved. But I was looking at, it could be one person for me, could also be Dikamem. But if I'm not going with Dikamem, I'm going with Remeli from West Ham. I think the way that he's been developing his play with playing playmaker and bringing in Ludovic Fabregas, the connection between the two of them here, it's like, I don't know what to do with the ball. He's playing Fabregas, and then he's getting assists, because Fabregas normally just score goals or getting penalties.
Sneaky ass Martin, just dropping 5 names here, that if one of them becomes MVP, he's been like, I did go for another one, but I told you about Ludovic Fabregas. I told you about that guy. I told you about that one. Fair enough. Victor, do you have a prediction for the MVP?
Yeah, I was about to drop off also 5-6 names, but now I can't do it. I agree with Martin that my desire is that Nico can be the MVP, but I think it's difficult. I will go with Dikamem. Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, you guys see them in the Final Four, so then when they achieve that, I do feel like Dikamem is going to take up a central role in that Barca squad. but eventually it all comes down to the games in the knockout stages. It
Alex Dushabayev, it's your pick. Alex Dushabayev, it's your pick.
You got it, Alex Dushabayev. Especially because of his performance last season in the final. I was really happy to see him perform like that, because Alex Dushabayev, he was the guy to keep Kielce in the game and to keep Kielce in the lead in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes. But then after Magdeburg took over, Dushabayev wasn't a key factor anymore. But I do feel like this Kielce squad is going to be back to full strength. They are going to conquer the top, and Alex Dushabayev is going to be the central role in all of that Kielce performance.
So you are putting
Kielce is winning
all the eggs in the same basket.
Yeah, it's well, but if we're moving over to the women's side here, you can see where my colors are sitting as well, because I went for the same strategy there. But once that these teams achieve it, I am pretty sure that my picks will gonna be rather good. So we didn't talk about the Women's Champions League yet. It has already started, and it will get its space here in this podcast. We might have to see whether we can still do it today or whether we postpone it to the next week. But still, I want to know from you guys who's going to win it on the women's side.
Whew, that's also tough. I think that Gier is not showing themselves as strong as they have done in the last, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years. Maybe this season I'm seeing CSM Bucharesti very, very strong. And maybe this is the name I'm gonna say, CSM Bucharesti.
My pick will be rather interesting as well, because I do see the MVP coming from my winners once again, and the winners will be Team Esbjerg.
I know who your MVP is.
I'm looking forward to your choice there once again. But Martin, go in for your winner first.
Well, this is interesting because then we have 3 different teams. I'm gonna go for Metz. Actually, they won the group last year, and they also won the quarterfinal with 6 goals. Then lost the second leg with 7. So yeah, they looked strong last year and they look strong this year. Although they don't have Bruno Di Paola anymore, then I expect them to do really, really good. They got in Annemette Hansen and Alina Greisels from Dortmund as well. I think there's 2 strong signings. So Metz could be. I don't see them as favorites, but I think they're gonna win it this year.
Fair enough. Well, there can be underdog wins as well. Victor, who will my MVP be?
Your MVP, it only can be, in my opinion, 2 names from Esbjerg. One is Henny Reista, and the other one is Nora Mork.
And you predicted the 2 names that I'm going to have for the 2 open categories. Nora Merck will be my MVP, and Henny Reista, the top scorer of the Champions League. I don't care. If it happens in the end, you will be sitting here and you will be laying flat on your knees, being like, oh, wow, you predicted it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be funny when Kielce and Esbjerg is not gonna make it to the Final Four. Then.
Yeah, well, then I'm just gonna leave this podcast. I'm just gonna drop it here and never talk about handball again.
MVP, I'm gonna go for Niago from Bucharesti. What I would assume is the GOAT at the moment in the women's handball. Yeah.
Fair enough. How about you, Victor?
For me, Oftedal. Stine Bredal Oftedal.
Alrighty. Yeah. And the only thing that we still have open is the top scorer on the women's side. I already dropped mine. It will be Henny Reistad. Do you guys agree on that one? We don't have a single frame where we agree.
I disagree, because I think that the player that you chose as an MVP, it's going to be the top scorer.
Nora Merck?
Nora Merck, yes.
Interesting to see. Martin?
I'm afraid that I'm going to have huge failure now, because I'm going to agree with you, Bengt, on the top score.
Henny Rice that it is. Henny Rice that it is. But it's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick. We do have to see who's going to the Final Four, though. And I'm just going to start with my picks there. Of course, I see Esbjerg. I do see Mets coming in as well. Gjør and Bucuresti.
Oh. You're leaving out Vipers, who won the last 3 years. Oh. Victor, you can go first on this one. I gotta think a little bit about it, although I've written down some names.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be CSM Bucuresti, of course. I think it's going to be Gjør, Vipers, and the last one. It's tough. I'm between Esbjerg and Mets. I'm gonna say Esbjerg.
Fair enough. Martin?
Yeah. I actually think also ECAST is doing well. I had them as a little bit of an outsider, but I'm going to obviously say Mets. Then I'm going to say Gjør. There won't be a Final Four without Gjør. Then I have to go for CSM Bucuresti. And then again, it's going to be between Vipers or Esbjerg, and I'm going to go for... That's a really, really tough one, because I think it's going to be crucial for Vipers that they change coach and that he went to Odense. I see him as a really, really strong coach. So I'm going to say Esbjerg.
Martin and me are agreeing once again. We are agreeing on that one once again. But it's fine. It's fine. Well, it will be.
But the injury to Mette Tranborg can also be crucial, because she's going to be out for the rest of the season. So they only have Nora Mørk as the right back. And so, yeah. We will see. That's the prediction for now.
Yeah, and that is the beauty about handball. You will never know it until the games are being played. And maybe in the end we'll see 8 completely different teams in the Final Four, and that would be great as well. I don't think about that would happen, but still, it will be a tough and tight season that we are looking forward to.
Yeah, that would be the beauty of handball, because it's highly improbable, but it could happen.
Yeah.
So that would be the beauty of this sport, and it shows the people who is not following maybe handball how strong is handball around Europe, both in men and women, because it's so many teams that they can succeed in Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at next week, I am looking forward to especially 2 matches. So we have the rematch of the final on the women's side coming up next week. We have FTC against Vipers, and that will be one hell of a great match, because both teams lost their opening match. And on the men's side, I think it's Barcelona playing against Magdeburg. Magdeburg with a tough start yesterday against Veszprém. Yeah. For us yesterday, because we are recording at Friday at noon. And yeah, then Barcelona is inviting Magdeburg over to Spain, isn't it?
Yes. They are hosting the game, and it's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be a hell of a game, because I'm sure that Magdeburg, they don't want to start the competition with 2 losses, with 0 points after 2 games.
Who wants
FC
that?
Barcelona. No, of course, no one. But sometimes, it has been said sometimes that German teams, they speculate a little bit with Champions League, because they don't use the starters in Champions League and blah, blah, blah. I disagree about that. German teams, they have big rosters, they have big players, they can play all the competitions, and everybody likes to win. So I think it's going to be a big game, and Barcelona is hosting them after a very, very good performance in Montpellier. And I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game.
Most definitely. But that's actually a topic that Martin and me did talk about yesterday. So for every one of you who doesn't know about it, yesterday we did have a watch-along on Twitch, twitch.tv/home of handball, for the match Magdeburg against Veszprém. And we watched the game together with you guys and had a little talk about, a little is something that goes into that direction. Magdeburg might not be able to get their top players into the Champions League each and every week because the league is so tough. So they did have an intense fight against Flensburg as well, against their ex-player Kai Smits, but they won it with 31-29 eventually. But then on the other hand, they are being forced to bring out their best squad each and every week in the Bundesliga in order to be able to fight for the title. But in Spain, Barcelona has it easier. So what do you think? Is it better to have more relaxed weekends in the league to compete at in the Champions League at full strength, or is it better to be always at your high level because you are being pushed to the limit?
This is something that you never know, because when you are at the end of the year lifting the trophy, then it was perfect, because then you could have your players rested and they could they could prepare better the important games and so on. But when you don't win, it's worst, because then the games were not highly competitive enough, and the players are not used to stress moments at the end of the games. So I cannot answer you to this question, because physically, I think it's better. But in terms of stress moment at the end of the games, in a tough competition, it's worst.
Yeah. So what do you mean it's worse to not have that complete high level each and every week? And to have a relaxing weekend in between. But that's what we said yesterday. There are basically no relaxing weekends in professional sports. So if you go and underestimate each and every opponent, or one single opponent, doesn't matter what, you are going to pay the price for it, because in the end it is professional sports. And in the league, when you are trying to reach your goals, you want to beat Barcelona in Spain.
Yeah, it's the team to beat, and we cannot forget that the last week FC Barcelona played in Irún against Bidasoa, and it was an even game. So, and with last 3 saves from Gonzalo from 6 meters, that it could be a loss. So even if you have a better roster, a better players, and a better team, you have to perform, because Spanish league. It has been said these last years that it's so bad, and Barcelona, they have no opponent in the league. But what the teams are doing in Europe, Spanish teams in Europe, are performing well. Granollers last season, they beat Flensburg in the quarterfinals, and they kicked off Flensburg from their final 4. So the Spanish league is toughest than the people thinks.
Yeah. That's what I feel. But you already talked about Gonzalo Perez de Vargas. He will be a topic in next week's talk, I would say, because then we are going to have a look at Kiel's goalkeeper situation, because they did play the Champions League match yesterday with Thomas Mückwa in goal, but the second one was Magnus Bierfreund, which actually is a very nice name, because in German it says beer friend, but that's another topic. We had Nikola Karabatic talking about Vincent Gérard as well. He is injured, but I think we are going to have a look at that next week. And for now, I'd say let's call it a day, don't we?
Yeah, for me, it's been a nice handball chat, and we have plenty of things to talk about in the next chapters.
That's the way.
We're off for a good start, and this is only the beginning, but what a beginning with Nikola joining us, and it's also really nice to have the insight from Barcelona with Victor, and I'm looking forward to making the next episode and talking about another topic.
Absolutely. I thank you guys a lot for your time. Once again, a shout out to Nikola Karabatic for joining us in the podcast, for joining us in The Spin. We talk handball. This was your first episode, and now you can, make sure to tune in each and every weekend when it's time to talk handball again.
Ball across to Dylan Nahi, double in flight. Oh, what a start.
Into the net.
She does it again.
Yes, Magdeburg are the champions.